Support comes from Mosby Building Arts, helping transform crowded, dated, or inefficient kitchens into more functional spaces for daily life. Details at callmosby.com.
This is St. Louis on the Air from St. Louis Public Radio. I'm Elaine Cha. Losing a loved one comes with much pain. When it occurs suddenly and with someone who struggled silently with their mental health, such grief can come with questions about what could have been said or done. It can also inspire people to work to ensure greater awareness of mental health challenges and to educate others about suicide prevention. That's how the Team Jakey Foundation got its start. And this Thursday, May 21st, the nonprofit is holding a fundraising event at Four Hands downtown to raise funds to fight against the stigma surrounding mental health issues. Here to share more about Jake Zeller and the foundation created in his name, we welcome Jake's sister, Jenna Zeller. Jenna, welcome.
Thank you so much for having us. We're really excited.
We also have Team Jakey Executive Director, Logan Janis. Welcome to you as well.
Hello, everyone.
And before we begin our conversation, I'd like to share that if you or someone you know is struggling, help is available. You can call or text 988 to reach the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, and that's available 24/7. That's 988, available through text or call. Jenna, let's start with getting to know a little bit about your brother Jake. You lost him to suicide in 2013. What do you typically want people to know about Jake and how you remember him?
Right. Well, first of all, as you can see, we put his face on everything that we possibly can because he was number one. You look at him and he was just a handsome guy. He had a great smile and he had these most beautiful crystal blue eyes. So number one, you just look at that and you think, God, he's got it all going. He also was super witty and would make everybody laugh. You know, he's a twin. My brother Sam is the surviving twin, the twinless twin. And he was the smart twin. Jake was the funny one, you know. So they had kind of their titles. And so Jake had us always going and not keeping it real serious very often. He just kept everything real light. And he had this old soul about him. And I think he was just able to make friends very easily with people and make people feel loved and welcomed and wanted. Mm-hmm. And he'd be the type of guy when he moved off to Oklahoma, he became friends with the older gentleman at the VFW hall and would go there and he would donate his free, he had worked for Anheuser-Busch and he donated his free cases of beer. He wasn't drinking that at the time. He started off on the craft beer with Four Hands, you know, and he just wanted to share what he had, and he wanted to also kind of surround himself with other people that kind of had lived life. And that's kind of the type of guy Jake was. He was deeper, and again, my brother Sam would tell you in high school and college, he'd be at a party and they'd be in the basement and all the friends would be there and they'd look around and wonder where Jake went. Mm. And Jake was upstairs in the kitchen with the parents and he was hanging out with them and just having, you know, these conversations that were just a little bit more meaningful. Yeah. So he was just a great guy, a great brother, and we miss him, you know.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing all of that. So Jenna, after your brother Jake took his life, your family was facing one of two choices, either to not discuss the circumstances around his death or to discuss it openly. Considering those two options, like what was that like, and how long did it take to come to a decision about it?
2 days.
Oh, wow.
It was that quick. We were all sitting in a very momentous day for me was we had started to prepare for the arrangements. We had kind of all gotten to take our breath and we were in the house and I looked at my dad and my mom was right next to him and I said, what do we tell people? This was, years ago that people weren't talking about mental health. They certainly weren't discussing suicide. They weren't putting any loved ones on billboards. They were living in the shadows. They were brushing everything under the rug. And my dad looked at us and said, we tell people the truth. He said, there's nothing that would, ever make us embarrassed or ashamed of Jake, and we're not going to start now. And that was such a relief. I know me personally, I just felt like I could then speak openly and not be embarrassed and not be ashamed of anything that my brother ever did. And that gave me such just a relief, and that I could almost embrace this as something that I could celebrate, and we could honor his life and not be secretive about any of it.
Mm-hmm. Logan, I'm sure that you have heard different forms of what Jenna has shared many times. You did not know Jake, but you've become, that is, a close friend of the Zeller family over the years. What do you make of the way they describe Jake, and how they've decided to be honest and open about what happened with him?
That question is exactly what got me involved with the organization. And I was an attendee at the annual cornhole tournament, which I would come to find out they do every year, is their biggest fundraiser. And I thought I was going to a cornhole tournament with food and drink and a little music, a Saturday up in Florissant. Let's go. Let's have a good time. And it was the speeches by Jenna's uncle, Mike Otten, who we lost last August, and Sam, Jake's brother. Those speeches changed my life for sure, and the way that I was perceiving death in general, and the way that we celebrate any life that we've lost, regardless of how we've lost that life. Mm-hmm. It was unique, and I was moved, and made me feel hopeful, and made me feel more comfortable. And the stigma that the group is trying to end, I see in the stigma everywhere. This first event that I was attending, now a few years back, and that got me. I said, I want to be on the team. I want to be on Team Jakey. I want to help end the stigma. And Sam is one of my closest friends. He's become the twin of Jake. And you're right. I've heard different stories about Jake. I didn't know him personally. And now, it's been volunteer, board of directors, and now graciously they've asked me to be the executive director of the group. I think I'm the epitome of someone that didn't know Jake, that is moved by the mission and wants to be a part of it to keep it going forward, because also just all of the people that we've seen come through the events the last few years, I can tell you that I've seen personally hundreds of lives touched and maybe changed for a different trajectory just because we were there. Mm-hmm. So
can you provide an example maybe of a conversation that you've had, or how you know that what Team Jakey is doing is working?
Yeah, and I know Jenna has some as well, because I feel like Jenna's one of our great board members that it's all about those conversations at those places, and I always see Jenna.
I'm a talker.
And she's a listener. She's a great listener.
Yeah.
We had one recently at a mental health fair where we got to be a participant. This was it was at Four Hands, actually, just about a month or so ago, with 3 Run 4 group. And we had a few examples on the upstairs floor of a brewery where we have our resource table out. We have little tacos that say "Talk About It" out. Mm-hmm. We have 988 stickers. Resources to Provident Behavioral Health, one of our partners. American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, Missouri. We have a lot of materials just out for people to shop, if you will, to look at, to think about. And I can think of a few. One, there was a young man that was, I believe he was in his late 20s or early 30s, and he had just told his partner, who shared with us, that he was about to give up his journey on finding therapy because it just seemed too complicated and too expensive. So we get to learn about access centers all around St. Louis that provide $5 therapy, insurance or not. And we've learned about programs and the hotline. We always say 988 because people don't even know that licensed therapists are on the other side of that completely for free, that'll at least get you going on a path. And then, we've just heard recently, Martin Short, a famous celebrity, has just lost his daughter to suicide, and mental health is front and center. And he had a quote in an interview recently that was, if you had 100 people in a room and you asked who's been affected by mental health illness or suicide, maybe half, depending on where you're at, you're going to see a number of hands go up, and you're not in this alone. We're in this together. And we hear that from people right here in the region looking for access to help. Just being able to talk about it when they haven't been able to talk about it before, you can see that is a positive thing that we think is happening at our events.
Yeah. How have you seen the impact of Team Jakey?
I think for me, I had one instance with a coworker who came by my office, and you normally say, "Oh, how's your morning? How you doing?" And the way she said, "I'm okay," just didn't seem like she was okay. Mm-hmm. It sat with me for a minute, and I went by her office later, and I said, "Hey, when you said you're okay, that didn't, I didn't buy it." And I kind of pushed a little bit, and I said, "I'm sorry if I'm out of line." But then she was able to kind of share with me that her husband had just lost a friend to suicide, and he was heavy. Her own husband was heavy on her heart. And I was able to, go back to my office. I said, listen to the story, and was able to email her articles for how to speak to somebody and all that, and pass that information on. And I felt like that was a really neat thing that I got to do for her so that she could help someone else that was struggling. And I was glad that my gut told me that she wasn't okay and that she had something on her mind. And that's, I think, what a lot of people, and I try to express that to people, is ask the questions and contact the people, even if you don't know if you're going to get a text on the other side back or a reply, knowing that you care, it matters. And like you said, Logan, saying that you're not alone, it really does matter. I've had struggles myself. The last couple months have been a struggle for me. And I have had countless friends and family reach out. Some of them are relentless in that they will contact me daily to see if I'm okay. But then I know I have this support system, and I have people that care about me. And even if it's just a text or a call, it does matter. And I think that's, some of us don't want to get involved in other people's personal lives, or they don't want to dig too deep because it's uncomfortable. I say do it, because you just don't know. They might just be waiting for someone to just take a little bit of a longer look at them and know that, someone cares about me.
Mm-hmm. Jenna, you've earned a mental health first aid certification. How much of what you've just shared now came from that formal training, and how much of it have you actually learned from all of the people that you have met through Team Jakey?
I think I would encourage everyone to do a mental health first aid training. There are trainings out there, and I think they give you a little bit more of a confidence in speaking to people and using the right wording and the right phrases, but a lot is just being out there and getting kind of practice talking to people, and again, just not being so self-aware that you're going to cross the line. It's more about listening, like Logan said, and just really being empathetic and understanding and non-judgmental to other people, and treating people like you want to be treated.
Hearing that personally, like even as we're talking, I struggle with, how do I put things in a way that is sensitive, and also, open to learning more. Logan, for you, is that something that you've also learned over the time that you've been involved? And does that give you some sense of advice that you can give to folks who are sort of coming at the issue from a position where maybe they've not had the kind of experience, Jenna, that you and your family have had?
Yeah, that's at the heart of the Team Jakey Foundation. We are, if really nothing else, awareness. We are not licensed therapists. We are persons and people that have gone through a traumatic event, and now grassroots growing of volunteers and people to get involved with that has taken us to a new level. But it's always come back to letting people see in the stigma and ask, what does that mean? You know, I think that's been a big thing that I've learned is what is the stigma? And not in 988 and partnering with Provident to kind of keep us in check and make sure that our dialogue is good, doing things like mental health first aid training. Provident actually offers us hands-on training for our board members and volunteers, because people don't know about these resources. That's what I've learned most, is that whenever I ask people if they know about 988, that's roughly, and this is just my own statistic, just about half of people. Half of people know about it, maybe don't even quite know what it is, but they know they've heard about it. The other half are like, oh, tell me more about that. So yeah, that's been the biggest thing for me is you're starting the dialogue with someone either in their mind with themselves, and we're the fun uncle of mental health.
Even the girls are the uncles. We can be uncles too.
The fun aunts, and uncles of mental health.
Right.
And that it's really true, because you might come to 2, 3, 4, 5 Team Jakey events, and you might not ever talk to anyone, and I think that that's okay. And then you might come and you might leave. You're in a group chat now. You've made maybe a buddy. And I think that's it. Being approachable, being accessible, and getting the word out there about that there's help. That's what we're here to do.
Now, Team Jakey has raised to date more than $500,000 to provide life-saving training and help, and to expand local mental health care resources. How specifically have those funds helped that? Can you talk about that, Jenna?
Well, Provident's a great, they actually have put together a wonderful list. If you donate a certain amount, they will quantify it for you and say, $10,000 goes and it will see this many patients and give them, mental care. And they have done an amazing job of kind of putting a donation amount towards their services that, so we have, I don't even know, Logan probably touched and been able to help thousands of people in St. Louis through our donations with Provident Behavioral Health. And they're the ones doing the therapy, which is great. We're going to tell them about it and we're going to direct them towards it. They're really great. We have also supported the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and they were instrumental in getting the 988 text number going, and we feel a little bit of personal connection to that because we had raised so much money and passed it on to them, and they're able to do those things on the state level. And we're just the bridge. So we're trying to get all of our friends and our great community and the support that we have with so many people, from mom and pop restaurants to these bigger corporations, and we just want to get those funds into the right hands that are doing the work, and they're actually they're doing it, and we're just happy to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm. Your next event is Taps for Team Jakey. That's happening this Thursday from 4 to 9 at Four Hands Brewery in downtown. What can people expect, Logan?
This is a free community event. So this is family friendly with live music, really great raffles, including Battlehawks tickets and St. Louis City SC tickets. We also have a photo bus, photo cam that'll be there, and a magician. And of course, the access to the mental health resources we talked about, and some new merch and some fun things within the stigma and Jake's face on them, because that's always part of what we do. So Four Hands downtown is a great location with they have beers, non-alcoholic beers, cocktails, mocktails, and the High Point is there. So get some burgers. Come and stay for 5 minutes. Come and stay all night, because we're going to be there from 4 to 9. This is our big spring kickoff to summer event. And we participate in probably, I would say this year, 20 plus community events where we're participating vendor partners. So you'll catch us at music festivals, markets, health fairs. And then it all counts down to our September 19th event, Team Jakey Fest.
Mm-hmm. And Team Jakey Fest is the one with the cornhole?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We have renamed it the My Cotton Memorial Cornhole Tournament. So that'll be a piece of it. And then we're going to have some live bands. We're looking for a real fun festival style, again, family friendly. And we're going to have a lot of fun that day too.
Mm-hmm. Jenna Zeller is the sister of Jake Zeller, and the Team Jakey Foundation's executive director is Logan Janis. We should also note that Logan is a member of STLPR's Generation Listen Council. Thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And information about Team Jakey events can be found at teamjakey.org/events. And if you or someone you know is struggling, help is available. Call or text 988 to reach the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, available 24/7.
This episode was produced by Emily Woodbury.
Audio engineering and podcast design by Aaron Dorr.
Our executive producer is Alex Hoyer.
St. Louis on the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio. Understanding starts here.
Do you find yourself regularly listening to episodes of St. Louis on the Air? Suggest us to a friend you think might enjoy our conversations. And leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts on the App Store. It's the simplest way to help people discover our show. Thanks.
St. Louis Public Radio is a member-supported service of the University of Missouri St. Louis.
Hi, I'm Laura Hamden, and my colleague Jessica Rogan and I are your daily hosts of the Gateway newsletter. We meet with the editors in the STLPR newsroom every weekday to bring you the top local stories of the day in a quick and easy 6-minute read by 6 a.m. In an age of overwhelm, it's a refreshing, thoughtful take on the news day, if we do say so ourselves. Fine-tune your daily news habit with the Gateway newsletter. Subscribe at stlpr.org/gateway.